What's going on, everybody? Rob Dawson here from the Field of 68, and my bracket picks are officially official. I'm going to be breaking down every pick that I made in the NCAA tournament field here right now for you in about 4 minutes. We are going to start in the East. A reminder, if you want to prove that you're smarter than me, go and jump in our Run Your Pool bracket pool. We'll be running that over on Run Your Pool. We've partnered with them this year. They are also part of Splash Sports. We partnered with splashsports.com to host Field of 68 Survivor Madness. It's a $5 entry fee, and you can win up to $4,500 if you fill out the entire 1,000-person field there. So let's get to it. Breaking down the East region first. I obviously have UConn beating Stetson in the first round of the tournament. I have Florida Atlantic taking down Northwestern as well. I like San Diego State over UAB. There's a lot of people that are picking that 12-5 upset. That will not be the 12-5 upset that I'm picking. I don't think you can out SDSU. I like Auburn over Yale. Yale, I think, is going to give them some trouble, and I don't think that they are a great matchup, but I think Auburn at the end of the day just has a little bit too much talent there. I think BYU takes care of Duquesne. I have Illinois taking down Morehead State, and I have Drake getting past Washington State and what will be a de facto home game for them, and Iowa State advancing past South Dakota State. In the second round, UConn takes down Florida Atlantic. I actually have Auburn beating San Diego State. I think Auburn at this point has been pretty undervalued by the market, and the more I look at them, the more I think about them, the more I am riding that bandwagon. So I'll have them going to the Sweet 16 while they take on UConn. I like BYU to beat Illinois. I think what BYU does offensively in terms of their movement, in terms of what they run offensively, it's very difficult for Illinois to be able to match up with them. So I like BYU getting to the Sweet 16. And then I have Iowa State beating Drake in what is a rivalry game and what should be one of the best atmospheres that we're going to see in the entire NCAA tournament. That means my Sweet 16 of the East is UConn against Auburn, BYU against Iowa State. I have UConn beating Auburn. I think that's actually a really difficult matchup because Auburn has depth. They have guards that can take you out of what you want to run if you're UConn. And I think that Janai Broome is going to be able to get Donovan Clingan in foul trouble. And I do believe that Jalen Williams is a tough matchup for Alex Caravan, but I think UConn at the end of the day gets the win. I will, if that game happens, absolutely be betting on Auburn to cover. And I think BYU takes down Iowa State. They were within a possession at Iowa State, and they beat them by 15 at the Marriott Center in Salt Lake City. So that's a Big 12 matchup, believe it or not. So I have UConn beating BYU to get to the Final Four out of the East. Let's head to the West. North Carolina takes down Wagner. I have Mississippi State beating Michigan State. Grand Canyon pulling the upset on St. Mary's to get to the second round. I have Alabama beating Charleston. I think that Alabama just has too many horses. Give me New Mexico over Clemson. I love their guards. Baylor, New Mexico in the second round will be one of the best matchups that we see. I have Nevada beating Dayton and Arizona taking down Long Beach State. I'm going to start at the bottom of the West region here. I have Arizona taking down Nevada, and I have Baylor beating New Mexico State. So Arizona plays Baylor for the right to get to the Final Four, for the right to get to the Elite Eight on one side. And then I have Grand Canyon and Mississippi State advancing. This is where I have my bracket going completely bonkers. I think Mississippi State's a tough matchup for North Carolina. Tolu Smith is really big inside. They're big, long, athletic, physical across their perimeter. And I like Grand Canyon to take down Alabama. I think Grand Canyon has a comparable talent, and I just don't know who on Alabama can slow down Tyon Grant Foster. I will have Mississippi State beating Grand Canyon to get to the Elite Eight where they will play Arizona and lose to Arizona. So I have Arizona and Tommy Lloyd in the Final Four. Heading to the South, give me Houston going past Longwood. Give me Texas A&M advancing past Nebraska. So we have an all-Texas battle there in the second round. I like James Madison to upset Wisconsin, and I'm going to go with Duke. I've been trying to talk myself into Vermont picking off the upset over the Blue Devils, and at the end of the day, I think Duke probably just has too much talent. So my official pick is going to end up being Duke, taking on the Dukes in the second round. I got NC State getting past Texas Tech. DJ Barnes, love them. And Kentucky getting past Oakland. And then I will have Colorado making it to the second round of the tournament, assuming that they can get past Boise State. So I will have the winner of Colorado Boise State beating a Florida team that is going to be down Micah Handlogden. And here's where I pick my upset of one of the top seeds. I will have Western Kentucky beating Marquette. There's a lot of talent on that Western Kentucky team. Marquette's Point guard situation is not ideal. There's always last 3 years has been a 15-2 upset, and I think if you take away the All-American from Marquette, that is the one where you got to pick. I told myself I had to pick one. Marquette is going to be the team that I pick here. So I have Boise State advancing past Western Kentucky to get to the second round, and I have Kentucky then beating them to get to the Elite Eight, and I have Duke and Houston advancing to the Sweet 16 on the other side. So Houston beats Duke. I have Houston and Kentucky in my Elite Eight coming out of the South, and I will have Kentucky making it all the way to the Final Four. Back to the Midwest. Purdue advances. They're not going to lose to a 16 seed again. And I have TCU beating Utah State, the Mountain West champs. To get to the second round, I have Purdue taking down TCU. I think that's going to be a tougher matchup than some people realize, but I do like Purdue to advance there. McNeese State beats Gonzaga. Samford beats a shorthanded Kansas, and I have McNeese State taking down Samford. So we'll have Purdue, McNeese State in the Sweet 16 on one side, and then I have Oregon upsetting South Carolina. So I have an 11-12 and a 13 winning in the Midwest. And then Creighton beats Akron. So Creighton and Oregon in the second round. I have Creighton advancing where they will take on Tennessee. Tennessee beats St. Peter's. Colorado State beats Texas. And then Tennessee takes down Colorado State. So the Sweet 16 in the Midwest for me is Creighton, Tennessee, Purdue, McNeese State. I have Purdue advancing. I have Creighton advancing. And then I have Creighton beating Purdue to get to the Final Four. The reason I did that, I'm not sure a lot of people will pick that, but I think that Ryan Kalkbrenner is the perfect matchup at the 5 for Zach Edey. He's the best big man when it comes to not fouling at the 5. And I think that Creighton is elite when it comes to running shooters into the paint and funneling guys down to Ryan Kalkbrenner, who is the 3-time Big East Defensive Player of the Year. But that's where their run ends. Kentucky will beat Creighton in one end of the Final Four, and UConn will beat Arizona on the other side, which means we have a UConn-Kentucky national title game, and the UConn Huskies will go back to back and win their second straight NCAA tournament. There are my bracket picks. If you think you can beat me, join Run Your Pool, hop in there and prove your medal. And then go to splashsports.com/68 and join our survivor pool and prove me wrong there. I'll see you guys. Splash Sports, Run Your Pool, come prove me wrong. Field of 68.